All right, everyone, it is Dokkan time again, and today's how to build is a very widely requested one, which is going to be for the newly super easy aid LR Goku Black, the free-to-play unit, of course. So he's a pretty fun unit. I like him. He's a little hard to get used to. I will say that he is definitely a little bit requires some temporary usage of him. He really shocked me. Like, seriously, like, he really did shock me. I think he's a really good unit when used properly. He actually has absurdly good damage on the new LR Rose's team, and obviously that's probably his best bet to be on. I don't have like one dupe or anything like that. It's just one straight up build. The only variation to it I would honestly make is you can change out dodge for critical if you really so choose, but I don't think it's necessary. But before we really get into that, I have to pop up the disclaimer and basically don't make me tap the freaking sign. This is a free-to-play unit. Dodge is valid at all points of time. It is a free-to-play unit. It's only a suggestion. If you're pro, cool. Not everyone is. This is only a suggestion. Now, let's go ahead and get back to this. So, if you've seen any of my how to build videos before, we go through the breakdown of the unit. We go through the unit's defense, attack numbers if we can get them, and then we go through the build suggestions, and then finally the roll tips, and then we close off with that. So, I will actually do one different thing from the start of this, though. Instead of going through the breakdown first, I want to go ahead and show y'all some grinding tips. Mostly because this is a free-to-play unit. So just take a look at it here. Step one, to actually grind this free-to-play unit, you'll have to go to the Zero Mortals plan in the story quest area of the game. When you get there, you will have up to stage 6. I actually cut this up, so just be aware of that when you're looking at the screen here. So in stage 2 specifically is where you actually grind the SSR himself, Zamasu, and then on stage 3 is where you will get his awakening medals that will awaken him into a TUR, and then to get his medals to awaken into an LR, you'll have to go to stage 6 specifically to get those. If you want to, or if you're able to actually, use as many time traveler units as entirely possible, as the category boost will increase your drop rate of all of these. And also don't forget to use any memories like Oolong and so forth to boost those chances. Now in step 2 is when you'll be able to extreme Z awaken the unit specifically. So to easy A the unit first, because remember this is a build video for the super easy A. To easy A the unit, you'll have to go to stage 1 of the Extreme Z area Zero Mortals plan. In order to be able to actually take this on, you will have had to actually grinded the unit up first. You can't do the easy A medals first. You have to grind the units first. So once you've grinded up Goku Black's LR, you'll be able to take on the stage 1. He is required to be used on these stages, so do keep that in mind. And you do have a select pool of units that you're actually allowed to use in this area, that being mostly free-to-play units, and then a couple LRs that are pretty much so old that you're just allowed to bring them. Same thing with a couple summonable LRs in here, and mostly other free-to-play units. Honestly, the easiest way is just grind up all these roses and go straight into it. Aside from some missions specific to categories or typings, it would just be the easiest to use your Rose clones to just stomp this event. Now, once you get to wanting to super easy A the unit specifically, you'll have to get to stage 3. I'm not 100% on this, so please don't quote me, but I do believe you have to get through stage 2 first. Stage 2 can only be opened up once you actually go and grind that STR Trunks. Otherwise, I don't know if you'll actually have access to stage 3. My assumption is you will as soon as you easy A, normal easy A, the LR Goku Black. So just keep that in mind. But once you go to stage 3, once again, you will still be restricted to all of these free-to-play units, and you will have to bring the LR Goku Black specifically to grind for those. So Now, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and just hop right into the breakdown of the unit. Now, as far as 200% options go for this guy, there's actually not too many to really work with here. I wish there was more to work with, but there's really just not. There's not a lot to work with here. It's literally just LR Rose himself, and then I guess you can attempt to take him onto the LR Goku Vegeta team. But otherwise, he's actually not 220% on the AGL Gogeta team. Basically, the only 220 option is LR Rose. Everything else is just going to be straight up free-to-play options, or 170, 180s, or, you know, maybe the Rose clone, or the physical Rose is an option for you if you really want to have a fun run. But this guy is aged out so bad. It's very weird, because this guy feels like he should have been brought out with the clones, but that's an argument for another day. But anyways, yeah, there's not too many options for his leaders go, but he is a free-to-play unit, so just always keep that in mind. He does lead Time Travelers category key plus 3 HP attack and defense 100%. Does colossal damage to enemy and lowers attack and defense on the 12 key. So unfortunately, he does not have attack and defense on his 12 key super, which I'll be honest is a little annoying, because it basically makes all of any additionals feel less. Like, they don't feel like they could be as powerful. Like, they just gave him raise attack, even if it was only 20 or 30%. This would have made the unit actually really bloody good for a free-to-play unit. And honestly, I'm not really sure why they decided to go with that, but to each their own. Now, for the 18 key super, he does only raise attack and defense. So it's just a 30% boost on his 18 key. Little pro tip here, I would honestly suggest trying to get as much key as possible in this instance. Normally we get at least greatly raises on the 18 key supers of units, so only being a raise, every extra bit of key you do get will increase your attack power. So try to hit 24 key with this if you potentially can, which I don't think will be too much of an issue. Let's just go down into his passive. So attack and defense 159, changes key spheres from physical to STR. This isn't terrible. I actually kind of like this. Normally we have a lot of rainbow orb changers on any one team. So a physical to STR orb changer is actually nice to just have in general. Launches an additional attack that has a 50% chance of becoming a super attack. This isn't too surprising for a free-to-play unit, so I'm not as angry about it, but I still hate 50% additional chances. Moving on, superclass enemies attack and defense is minus 30%. Kind of nice, actually. We've been getting a lot of events lately that actually just allow us to lower attack and defense, or one or the other. So this actually does come in handy a little bit. He's also buffing extreme class allies by attack and defense of 40%. No key increase here, but this is actually one thing people probably don't really notice, is that he actually is a 40% support unit, which is very nice. It's just really nice, especially with all the extra support we have on the team already as it is. For 4 turns from the character's entry turn, he'll have damage reduction of 20%. When there is a feature saga category enemy, or when all allies attacking on the same turn are extreme, he gets key plus 3, and then he gets a chance of performing a critical and damage reduction rate of 40%. And then he launches an additional super attack. So right off the bat, before we even go through more of his passive, this guy already has like basically a giant paragraph of abilities. He's got 60% damage reduction for the first 4 turns, then after that he has 40. He's got 40% chance to crit naturally. He's got a free additional super and then a 50% chance to additional super. He's lowering the enemy's attack and defense, and he's increasing allies' attack and defense. He already does so much, and he's got even more. I'm honestly, like, really shocked that they made him so good. I'm really shocked. But, anyways, for every attack received, key plus 2 up to 10. He does actually have to get hit, by the way, for this. When attacking with 12 or more ki, you'll get an additional attack and defense of 159%. And when attacking with 18 or more ki, defense 159%. When the target enemy is in the following status of HP below 59%, or has their attack or defense lowered, he'll have an extra 159% attack, and he performs criticals. After delivering a final blow, attack and defense, chance of evading attack, plus 59%. Now, I was a little bit thrown back by this, and I really had to think about it. It was really hard to decipher this, but basically, this is a little deceiving. It does give you an additional attack and defense for every final blow, basically. But what it doesn't give you is it doesn't give you the extra dodge percentage. So you will only have 59% chance to dodge just after a final blow. The attack and defense should go up if you get another final blow, but I had a really hard time testing this, and I only was able to get 2 final blows 2 times, and one of those 2 times he did not dodge. He dodged a couple attacks, but ironically, of course, he didn't dodge the normal. Or the super, excuse me. Yeah. Anyways. So, his links are actually kind of disappointing. They're probably the worst part of the unit, other than the fact that his 12 key is not giving attack or defense. Godly Power, Cold Judgment, Nightmare, Dismal Future, Fear and Faith, Shattering the Limit, and Legendary Power. Now, the biggest thing here is that he doesn't have big bad bosses, and that's understandable based on the unit himself. But giving him Cold Judgment is correct on character, but you're not really going to have an instance where you're really going to be able to proc this. There's just not really any super bosses that will be able to be thrown onto the team, or that will specifically be thrown onto the team at any point in time in a realistic, difficult event. It's not to say that, you know, maybe in the future the physical Zamasu gets an easy A or something, and maybe he'll be useful then, but I feel like by the time we get a Cold Judgment specific buff of a unit that could link with on super bosses, he'll probably be outdated by that point. So it's just unfortunate, because Cold Judgment is in itself a good link. It's just, it has very finicky partners, and if you can't throw partners onto the team, the defense values are just off. So he does have this defense plus 25%, but he probably won't be getting it. Now, his categories are just basic for kind of Goku Black units: Time Travelers, Realm of Gods, Batara, Future Saga, Inhuman Deeds, Corroded Body and Mind, Worldwide Chaos, Power of Wishes, Super Bosses, Successors. I think the only big one here is Dragon Ball Seekers. I think he's the only Goku Black that has Dragon Ball Seekers, if I am correct on that. Yeah. Basically, he's the only one. I think maybe a Zamasu might be on here, but other than that, he's really the only one that's on Dragon Ball Seekers. I will definitely say that Dragon Ball Seekers has been getting a lot of buffs throughout the year, so it's kind of an interesting category to throw him on, because it could actually be something to think about in the future when relating to a couple other types of demonic-esque power units. Maybe he might have a spot on a team somewhere, because he doesn't necessarily have just Goku Black links or anything like that. He's kind of all over the place. The only one that's really out of place is Dismal Future. Otherwise, yeah. So his link partners are going to be kind of unfortunate. Basically, your best link partner with him is just going to be the exchanged Zamasu specifically, and that's because he changes like one extra link, I believe. I think it might be Nightmare or Godly Power. It's one of the two. Once you exchange into Zamasu. Otherwise, he's just kind of linking decently with just about every Zamasu in Goku Black. You know, 4 links is his actual bare minimum of links at all points of time, and it pretty much will not change. If you get to 5, then that's a good link partner. Unfortunately, there's only one meta-esque worthy partner here, being that new LR Rose Zamasu. Unfortunately, they butchered this World Tournament Goku Black. I really don't understand why, because he does have Cold Judgment too. It really, I mean, free-to-play wise, this is an insane rotation right here. But, I mean, competitive-wise, there's just no good partner for him. He's just kind of got good-ish enough links. Missing out on Cold Judgment. Stupid mouth words. Missing out on Cold Judgment actually does make a huge difference on defense, which we are going to go through the defense numbers now. So these defense numbers are compliments of Harvard over on the Twitter side. Now these defense numbers are going to be a little bit all over the place. And by that, I mean, they're not going to be that impressive. The link partner he has chosen for this is the STR, LR, Zamasu, and Goku Black, the new one, basically. So this is not taking into consideration of the defense of Cold Judgment. It is just giving him a major attack boost and critical boost. So Dismal Feature, Fear and Faith, Nightmare, Godly Power, etc. Now, after delivering a final blow, his defense on Super, on 18 Super specifically, because that's only when he gets his attack and defense, is 1.1 million. Now, that's not a lot. It's really not. When you use double Goku active skill, he can get up to 1.7. 40% boost, you can get up to around 2 million post Super. So the one thing I really gotta say here is that there is so much support on the team that I feel like he should be fine as far as defense goes. He has 60% damage reduction for 4 turns, and then he has 40%. He's obviously not living no STR Jiren super attack, but he will definitely be doing pretty nicely. If by chance he was able to actually get the Cold Judgment link, it would be a good 500k chunk of defense to be acquired. With all the support you can get on the team, I would honestly say you can see this defense go up to somewhere around the 3 million range, especially if you chose to actually give him a defense orb. That would actually be pretty nuts. So, but this guy can get really high. I mean, just scrolling through the comments, you can see Luke over here saying that he could get him up to 45 mil. He's actually a really decent unit. Attack and defense buffs help a lot. The biggest thing here is that you're basically relying on the fact that you need to get the final blow. So early on, if you cannot get the final blow with this guy, it could actually cost you the fight. But once again, this is a free-to-play unit, so judge him accordingly. Now, let's move on to the build suggestion. I don't really suggest going into any other route. The only suggestion I would say you can roll with is changing the dodge to critical. If you're feeling like it, you can lower the additional down into the dodge range if you so wish. You know, it's a free-to-play unit, as I said in the disclaimer, dodge is valid, but the whole point of making this guy full additional is to go and get that final blow. The final blow gives an additional attack and defense of 59% and the dodge chance of basically 60%. So that dodge chance, along with that attack and defense increase, is huge. And as I was testing him out, I found that the 59% HP threshold I hit quite often. And because he auto-performs crit after you hit that 59% HP, or if you're just lowering attack or defense on him, he's just got a huge amount of damage. I mean, we're talking like 30 million damage. I mean, you saw Luke post on the defense numbers that he saw him hit around 40. So, I mean, that's freaking huge. And then, you know, going with the fact that he's got a 50% chance to additional, and then he gets a free additional super. So, and a 40% chance to crit already initially, and he's an STR type, which gives him an extra 10% already naturally. So he's basically got a natural 50% chance to critical, and he's already got an auto crit function. I mean, like, do you really need anything else? Like, I mean, really, like, this is the craziest freaking free-to-play unit I've seen in a minute. He can actually be really good. So you just gotta play it around a little bit. You gotta try and get that final blow in. Basically, just kill one phase with this guy, and he'll start looking a lot better. The hardest part I had with him was trying to get him into a slot position. And speaking of slot position, let's go ahead and move on to his roll tips. So, as far as his role in the fight, he's a damage dealer. And you'll see that as soon as you start using him, as long as you actually rainbowed and link leveled him and use him on, well, LR Rose's team. His other leaders are not really that prevalent. Good luck if you don't have the LR Rose. My suggestion would honestly just be Janemba or Broly. They are more reliable. Fizz Rose is just not reliable in my personal opinion. Defense-wise, he's just not good enough. Broly at least has his domain, and he can get to a respectable defense number that is, yes, higher than Fizz Rose's. Partner-wise, obviously clones, the new Super Easy A Rose, LR Rose, Zamasu, and Goku Black that just released. And as far as his best slot position goes, I'm honestly, I really had a hard time with this. I really did, so I apologize. And it took a lot of time to think about it. It has to be slot 3. It really does. It just has to be slot 3. I wish it didn't have to be, but the problem is that he's missing big bad bosses. Missing out on big bad bosses is what kind of forces him into that slot 3 position. It's also why he doesn't really like link as well with everyone that he should. So, I mean, in a sea of big bad bosses, you have one unit that doesn't have it. So if you put him into slot 2, you end up kind of neutering the slot 1 and slot 3 units. So he either needs to be in slot 1 or he needs to be in slot 3. That's as basic as it gets. What I will say is you should try your hardest to get that final blow. I don't care what position you put him in. If it's slot 1, you have to tank a super for 60% damage reduction in the first phase, which hopefully you don't take into the like some hard 3 million hitting super, but I mean, I think you can deal with it so long as you know you're going to get the final blow. Get that final blow, and he'll be reliable for the rest of the fight. You have this Zamasu and other Roses on the team and the clones that can all heal you back up. So don't worry about your health necessarily at the very beginning. Use this guy as a tool and get that final blow in. Get this reliable damage dealing kind of slightly tanky support-ish unit. And I think you'll actually find that this is an amazing free-to-play unit, and the Future Saga is just being straight up held down by these clones and these free-to-play units, which is actually freaking insane to me. So, but anyways, guys, I think that's going to be it for the video. I did have fun practicing him out and using him. It took several fights to really get used to him and really get a feel for how he performs on the team. At first, he might seem underwhelming, but his HP threshold is basically what makes him feel like he's bouncing all over the place. But as soon as you get the final blow down, you know the enemy's at lowered attack and defense or is below 60% HP, and he just looks amazing. And he honestly kind of outperforms a lot of recent units, which seems to be a theme for this celebration. So, hopefully that doesn't mean that we're getting into another power creep meta. Please no. Anyways, let me know how you decided to build this unit. Did you decide to go full additional, or you were just like, yeah, let's just go full dodge. Why not? It's a free-to-play unit. Do as you wish. It's just a suggestion. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Have a good day and a good night.